Here in this room over the next 3 days, representatives of all African nations and the Arab League will be discussing disasters as a present and future threat to development. They will also be sharing experiences on how best to reduce disaster risk. The Regional Platform on Disaster Risk Reduction is a meeting that happens every 2 years to enable nations and stakeholders to monitor progress in the implementation of the Global Strategy for Reduction of Disaster Risks, the Sendai Framework.
The issue of disaster risk management cannot be tackled isolatedly. We need to, all of us, coordinate action and really find ways of how to address the issue of natural hazards on the continent.
Disaster risk reduction is about having risk-informed development. By that we mean when you build bridges, when you build homes, when you build infrastructure, what you have to do is ensure that it's built in a way that does not cause additional danger to the people who are using it, to the people who are dwelling in these areas.
The focus of this conference is risk-inclusive and informed sustainable development. And this is based on the understanding that risk is not alien to development. Rather, development is itself a key driver of risk. Think about urbanization. Think about human settlement in hazardous locations. Think about massive industrial manufacturing plants and the impacts that they could have in the locations in which they are set up, etc. Now, because of this interface, it is critical that development strategy and development action is informed by a deep understanding of risk, and that is at the heart of the conversation here. The conference is a collage of sectors, governments, institutions and organizations, each doing their part to reduce disaster risks, and now gathering to learn from each other and find ways to synergize in building resilient communities.
The components of the work we do, especially with the risk profiling, gives a country a sense of the dangers that they face in the area of drought, and we are doing the same or going to do the same for public health outbreaks and emergencies. So we help them in modeling the drought, in modeling the disease outbreaks, so you have a full understanding of the extent of the hazard that you could face. You could model 1 in 5 year drought, 1 in 5 year public health outbreak to see the size and the cost that will be incurred.
Over 60% of the African population live in the rural areas. In these areas, half of the economy is animal dependent, from the women dependent on chicken for eggs to feed their children and to store value for a rainy day, and the donkeys to fetch water and carry their produce to the markets, to big-time pastoral communities that traverse acres and kilometers with thousands of heads of cattle. Weather-related hazards hit them disproportionately, sometimes wiping out the entire stock. Different stakeholders are providing novel solutions to make rural populations more resilient, and this conference grants them the opportunity to raise a voice on behalf of these populations in policy discussions.
Our work has shown us that the way that people depend on animals goes, it's obviously economic, but it covers so many different facets of life, from security to being able to send your daughter to school, pay the medical bills of your mother, all kinds of things. So we really see it as very important to continue the global call for better policies, but also work with governments and communities as well.
At the end of this conference, government representatives will make voluntary statements of actions they will take going forward in safeguarding lives and development from the threats of natural and man-made hazards.